us to when we come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of war fall silent, feel thy love grow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us find ourselves in union, help our hands tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
Welcome to this online service of Neshoba Unitarian Universalist Church in Cordova, Tennessee. I am the Reverend Beth Lefever, pleased and privileged to serve as the minister of this congregation, and I am so very glad that you have chosen to be with us in worship on this Valentine's Day morning. Our opening words are from the hymn This Old World, an American folk tune excerpted. This old world can be a garden full of fragrance, full of grace. If we love our neighbors truly, we must meet them face to face, at least figuratively in these times. In this spirit, let us gather together in worship. And Charles Wicker will light our chalice.
As I prepare to ignite the flame of this chalice, I appreciate the physics involved in the differences between the light and the dark. Metaphors abound, but the main differences I see between light and dark are twofold. Firstly, light offers us the ability for us to see our reality, and it is mission critical as Unitarian Universalists to shine our light in this world that is all too often enveloped in darkness. Light is also crucial in creating a source of energy for things to grow, which is to say, you are desirous to see and discern through the eyes of compassion and love, so that we can create an environment where all needful things can enjoy the freedoms to bloom and to blossom, and yea, verily, experience the revelry inherent in the pursuit of happiness. As we circle up on this virtual gathering, let us set our intentions on the benefits of fellowshipping with each other through words and music, and charging our batteries so that our lights continue to shine brightly. Blessed be. And now join me in the saying of the affirmation of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of our church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Good morning and happy Valentine's Day. I have a special story today that's kind of a combination between a craft and a story. It's a cut and tell story. One of the things that's fun about it is you can change it around to fit whatever you want to talk about. Like when I looked it up online, just kind of refresh my memory, the story was about some animals, like a Mr. Bear and Mr. Rabbit. But I'm changing it to talk about people at Neshoba. I'm starting out with a piece of red paper, and I'm going to cut it into a heart. You know how to do that? You fold the paper in half, and then you start cutting. I wanted to make sure this came out with a nice shape. So I actually traced the outline of half a heart on there. And I'm going to start cutting here down from the top edge at the inside point of the heart. And we cut around and around. I like to start at the top edge so I can see just how tall and how fat to make my heart. Now I'm not going all the way to the edge. I've come around and now I'm starting down. See how I've left a little margin there, a little border? Now straight down to the point, the bottom point. But again, I'm not going all the way to the edge. Okay, it's a nice big scrap. We can do something with that. And I've got my heart. So now I can make some decorations for Valentine's Day. You know, there are a lot of people I should send Valentines to, but I didn't get out to buy any Valentines. And now I've cut up my red paper, and I only have one heart. But it wouldn't be much of a story if it ended there. Let's see how we can make Valentines for a lot of people from this one heart. I'm going to fold it back up, because I'm thinking of a lot of people in Neshoba who deserve some Valentines. Like Reverend Beth. She does so much to keep us all together in love. We call it the beloved community. I'm going to cut around the outside of that heart. And now I have a heart with an open space in the middle with room for all the Neshoba people that Reverend Beth takes care of. Put that over here. You know, there's some other people who help Neshoba stay together in this time when we're all apart. How about Miss Nix in the office? She goes into the building and takes care of the church's business, and she sends out emails and announcements to everyone so we know what's going on and how we can get together online. She deserves a big heart. Thank you, Miss Nix. Oh, and talking about online, let's see, we've got this little heart left. But you know, Dave, Orland, and Chelsea, they do so much, because what would our church service be without all the music and singing that they do? And Chelsea even puts together all the videos that everyone makes to turn it into one church service for us all to watch. Happy Valentine's Day. And here's one little heart left. You know, I think that should go to Miss Megan and Miss Kendra for all they do in putting together the children's RE program to watch every Sunday. Huh. I used up all my hearts. Oh, remember that scrap we put aside? Well, if you open that up, look at the heart you have. And we can make a decoration like with some wrapping paper that has fancy designs on it. Or you could put it on a doily, that would be pretty. Or you could have a plain piece of paper that you decorate with a big fancy colorful design or a pretty picture. But you know what I'm going to do with this heart? I'm going to make a Valentine for you. Happy Valentine's Day. Mwah.
Ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply My first reading is by author and editor Reverend James Martin, who is a Jesuit priest and an Auburn Senior Fellow. Ash Wednesday can seem a sad day, dark, brooding, and focused on our sinfulness. But in reality, as the inaugural day of Lent, it is all about love. Preparing ourselves to celebrate Easter, we try to prepare ourselves spiritually. And of course, the best way to prepare ourselves spiritually is to love more. One of my theology professors used to say that for Jesus, sin was primarily where people failed to bother to love. So this Ash Wednesday, maybe instead of thinking of giving something up, we can think of this most important question, which gets us to the heart of Lent. Where am I failing to bother to love? My second reading is a very brief quote by 19th century Russian author Leo Tolstoy. Love is life, all, everything that I understand only because I love. Everything is, everything exists, only because I love. Today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. And Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, a holy day of prayer and repentance in Roman Catholicism and a number of Protestant denominations. And it is the first day of the 6-week period of Lent, a time of repentance preceding Easter. What a wealth of potential sermon ideas for today. In the hopes that I would find a strand or two to weave together, rather than providing you with a jumble of great theological and philosophical thoughts, too broad to contain, I want to focus on love, repentance, and forgiveness. Despite the beloved 1970 film Love Story, in which star Ally McGraw tells co-star Ryan O'Neal that love means never having to say you're sorry, love and repentance make a strong and healthy coupling, always. I don't know the context in which the then famous movie line was spoken. I presume it assumes that each party of a loving couple knows that, of course, their partner is sorry for whatever misunderstanding occurred or misstep was taken. That is very romantic, but not always true. Additionally, it stymies conversation, makes potentially unhealthy assumptions, leaves the air cloudy, and, well, it is simply lazy. In our intimate relationships, our familial connections, and on into our friendships, our associations with colleagues and acquaintances, and all the way on through our relationships with strangers and with the world at large, repentance and forgiveness should play a role, a major role. And there's no reason it couldn't or can't, as far as I can see. And so, while we in our tradition do not usually observe Ash Wednesday or Lent, it might be wise for us to contemplate both on occasion, and now is as good a time as any. Both repentance and forgiveness are hard because they make us feel vulnerable. It seems easy enough to say in any number of contexts, "I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't realize, I didn't mean to." But the more the relationship matters, and or the greater the mistake or injustice, the harder it becomes. It's hard when you have inadvertently or carelessly hurt someone you love, someone whose love upon which you depend, to admit a transgression purely without self-defending. It is hard and scary. It is hard, too, to ask for forgiveness, leaving oneself bluntly open to a refusal of that sought-after forgiveness. And it can be hard to forgive as well, for any number of reasons. For instance, if there is a history of such behavior, or if the words of repentance seem disingenuous. It is for those reasons, and many more, that make repentance and forgiveness such powerful dynamics in human relationships. They also are powerful dynamics in how we look at, address, and treat the broader community, how we approach justice issues in our lives. Allow me to digress a bit here. There are a number of different types of love, but it is widely accepted that there are 4 main types. These are eros, philia, storge, and agape. Eros, of course, is erotic or passionate love, akin to romantic love, love of a partner or intimate other. Philia is basically friendship or feelings of shared goodwill. Storge is familial love, the love of parents for their children, a fondness born out of familiarity or dependency, as psychiatrist Neil Burton explains. And agape is universal love, the love of humanity, of strangers, what Christians sometimes call charity. All of these types of love rely in some measure on trust, the trust that our love will lead to good and will be both given and accepted as pure, as non-manipulative, as selfless, at least largely. But because we are human, we are not always able to live up to that trust. Our motives are not always pure and selfless because life is scary and we have been hurt before. Because we know the risks inherent in loving another, loving others. And because we create, consciously or not, protective layers and defenses just in case they may be needed. Nowhere is that more true in eros love and philia, or friendship, and, well, in all the types of love, actually, including and maybe even especially agape. It is agape, the love of humankind, where most of us err, or at least fall short. I have long considered the need for a ritual of repentance and forgiveness in our Unitarian Universalist faith tradition. I have not myself created such a ritual, but I have needed it and I have considered it. Some years ago, I was involved in an extremely complex and difficult professional relationship with a colleague. She became hurt by something she was sure I had said, and I was just as certain I hadn't said it and wouldn't say it. We spent no small amount of time trying to sort it through, even asking a third party to help us navigate the difficulties. I, at one point, suggested to her that since we both felt equally strongly about what did or did not occur, and since we seemed unable to heal that divide, that maybe we should attempt to simply set it aside and together create a ritual around forgiving one another. I was speaking of an official ritual, acknowledging good intentions in ourselves and the other, acknowledging our human capacity for mistakes and misunderstandings, and acknowledging the value of one another and the difficulties around our sustained anger and hurt. She declined, and I wonder to this day what gain she was experiencing by holding on to the anger. But because there was no place to go with it, we more or less severed ties. And that is what happens if we can't articulate repentance and forgiveness. Relationships collapse under the weight of real or imagined transgressions. I mentioned agape, or the love of humankind, as being the area in which I believe we most fall short. If we love our fellow sojourners, known or unknown to us, those with whom we agree politically, religiously, or philosophically, and those with whom we don't agree, if we have agape love, we will work very hard to make sure all of humankind is treated well by ourselves and, to the extent possible, by others. If we experience agape love, we will treat all others, different families, different tribes, different races and ethnicities, those of other countries, those of other economic classes. We will treat all of humanity with love and concern and caring. Agape is the most difficult kind of love, broadly testing both our trust and our vulnerabilities. But if we could work hard at achieving it, or at least approaching it, then maybe we could begin to address the ills and inequities of the world in meaningful ways. If we practiced agape love, we could not abide people starving while we feast, relatively speaking. We could not abide not helping the homeless, not fighting injustice at every level, not reaching out to the lonely or the figurative leper. If we practiced agape love, we could more fully unite against the woes that plague this world and its inhabitants. We could increasingly come together. We could increasingly care. We could increasingly care for and about and with others. Many of us here at Neshoba do reach out and do care and do work for justice. That is agape love at work. Could we work harder? Yes. I know I could. So on this Valentine's Day and this Ash Wednesday week, I'm going to think about love in all of its broad and varied manifestations, and I'm going to consider repentance for the too frequent weakness of my own efforts. And I'm going to consider forgiveness for myself and all others who are victims of the human condition. I invite you to do the same if it feels right to you. Amen. And now let us move into a time of meditation, reflection, and prayer. The spoken words of this morning's meditation are from our hymn, Break Not the Circle, words written by Fred Kahn. Relax and become quiet, at ease and breathing comfortably as you listen. Break not the circle of enabling love where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still till it includes, embraces all the living. Come wonder at this love that comes to life where words of freedom are with humor spoken and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken. Join then the movement of the love that frees till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation. Let us consider these words. Let us consider love and freedom and service, repentance and forgiveness in this time of shared silence. Amen. And until next week, blessed, blessed be. Cut.
God!
Very
cool. That was good.
Thank you.
O Filii et Filiae, Alleluia. O ye who taste that love is sweet, set waymarks for the doubtful feet that stumble on in search of it. Alleluia. Sing hymns of love that some who hear far off in pain may lend an ear. Rise up and wonder and draw near. Alleluia. Lead lives of love that others who behold your lives may kindle too with love and cast their lot with you.